afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Monday. Hope you all had a nice weekend.
Thanksgiving week begins.
Yeah. Short week for us here.
Yeah.
No shows on Thursday or Friday.
Wearing my Badger red today because Mike Leckrone is going to join us later this hour.
And this is as red as I get with my tie.
We'll talk about a new PBS Wisconsin documentary on Mike that debuts tomorrow night.
And find out what he's been up to.
Yeah.
What he's doing on Saturdays.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all coming up. But first, here's what's making news on this Monday. A Thanksgiving week storm could create major travel issues. Dana will have an update on the path of the storm.
Police say an argument on Madison's east side turned violent overnight. We'll share an update on the investigation.
And people with disabilities in need of affordable housing are getting some help.
Let's take a look outside today. The weather is going to be a big story this week, but all is quiet today.
Yeah, today.
Nice and mild, no snow on the ground.
Almost 50 degrees. Yeah, it's very nice. But rain, wind, and snow to the north. Dana's here to track this storm. It's very critical where you live, I think, with this one.
It really is, depending on where you may live and where you may be traveling to, how much this is going to impact your Thanksgiving. We'll get right to it. Snowfall totals are going to be much, much higher north and west of Dane County. Folks towards La Crosse, or if you have to travel to the Twin Cities, it's going to be a very, very messy night Tuesday and throughout the day on Wednesday. We're expecting rain around Madison, but it may mix with a little bit of snow at times. Not expecting any accumulation, though. Alert days are still in the forecast for Tuesday night and Wednesday, especially in the morning. Anyone on the roads should plan for plenty of time if you're traveling north along 94 or even just into the northwest area of southern Wisconsin. If you're traveling south, it's going to be pretty windy into northern Illinois. Here's a live look right now. We have a lot of cloud coverage building on in the sky. We had a few pockets of sunshine today, but overall, not exactly a sunny afternoon, but the Doppler track has stayed quiet. That's the good news. We'll take a closer look at that track for the system heading towards Thanksgiving in just a few minutes. Right now on the roads, we do have a few cars on the side of the road along the Beltline the closer you get to 94, but no lanes are blocked right now. Eastbound around John Nolan starting to slow down a little bit, but the rest of the Beltline does look okay. Same goes for Janesville. All should be smooth sailing heading down towards the state line. From Janesville to the Beltline, about 24 minutes. 18 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton, and from Sun Prairie to downtown, 17 minutes this evening on this sunny, for some areas, evening, with the cloud coverage starting to break up just a little bit.
Get your shopping done tonight. I can't imagine what the grocery stores are going to look like before this storm moves in.
Avoid it like crazy tomorrow if you can.
All right, we'll check back in just a little while, Dana. Thank you.
But listen to this. AAA is predicting the highest amount of travelers over Thanksgiving weekend since they began tracking.
But the weather leading into Thanksgiving, as we were just talking about, might affect some of those travel plans. Our Gabriella Becerra is at the Dane County Regional Airport tonight with more on what travelers can expect. Gabby?
In Wisconsin, more than 1.1 million people are traveling for Thanksgiving weekend, and almost 100,000 of those travelers will be flying. Dane County Regional Airport is expecting the most people to travel between Tuesday night and Wednesday. And the recommendation, whether you're flying or driving, is to leave yourself extra time and know your trip before you go. With a high amount of travelers, trips could take up to as much as 4 times as long. And as of the current forecast, Dane County Regional Airport isn't expecting the weather to be too much of a problem here.
We're monitoring it. You know, right now it doesn't look too impactful to Madison, but that can shift in a moment's notice. Weather impacts everybody. It is never the airport's or airline's intention to cancel or impact a flight, but it does happen.
Be sure to watch your flight for delays and cancellations leading up to arriving at the airport. And if you're dropping or picking up any of your loved ones, be sure to use the cell phone parking lot to keep the traffic over here on this end moving. I'll have more, including safety tips from state troopers on News 3 Now at 5.
We'll see you then. Gabby reporting from the airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby. The people who got into a shootout on Madison's east side last night are still out there. That's according to police. Last night, around 9 o'clock, people who live in these apartments off Cottage Grove Road heard arguing and then rapid-fire gunshots. Police found at least 36 shell casings. This is a couple blocks east of Stoughton Road, and police say this is not a problem neighborhood. Many kids live in this complex, and police do not get called often.
There's no rhyme or reason to when bullets start flying. It's where people run into each other, encounter one another, and a lot of times now, instead of resolving things in a peaceful way or even with a fist fight or something like that, it's people pulling guns and shooting at each other.
And coming up tonight at 5, we'll hear from a woman who lives in the complex. Her 3-year-old daughter's room was one of the spots hit by stray bullets. Police are studying those spots and looking at other evidence now to figure out who is responsible. And they said they'll stick with it and catch them. If you have information that could help, you're asked to contact Madison area Crime Stoppers. 3 men could see significant jail or prison time in connection to a shooting on the Beltline this summer. Madison police said today 24-year-old Sorrell Gilmore, 20-year-old Taiwan Reynolds, and 22-year-old Terrence Moore have been arrested. They are facing several charges, including first-degree recklessly endangering safety, possession of a firearm by a felon, as well as drug dealing charges. The 3 men were allegedly involved in a shootout on the Beltline back in August. Witnesses told police at the time someone inside an SUV was firing at another vehicle on the Beltline during the morning rush hour. People with disabilities in need of affordable housing are now closer to achieving that goal. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development awarded nearly $1.2 million to the state of Wisconsin to provide affordable housing options. Jamie Perez is here now to share more about how this works and what we can expect. Jamie?
They're hoping this can make a really big dent in helping people here. There are thousands of people on wait lists for housing help now. And these vouchers that were given to the state will help move those people off the wait list and get integrated back into the community. There were 180 vouchers given, and all of those will be divided amongst various housing programs here. These vouchers specifically target non-elderly people with disabilities. At a press conference today announcing this news, the mayor said affordable housing has been a top priority for her, and she's happy to see this money go towards helping some of the most vulnerable in our community.
We have an affordable housing crisis, and we need to be working on all fronts to make sure that we are making a dent in that crisis and providing housing to folks that need it at all levels of income and ability.
The hope that these vouchers will get people off these long wait lists, which will open up those spaces to help the thousands of others who haven't even made it on a wait list yet. And many hands are going into this work to help get people off the streets and into a safe place to live. So hopefully this can help a lot of people here in Wisconsin.
Hope so. Jamie, thank you. A popular Wisconsin company is making a promise to bring more jobs to the Badger State. Molson Coors, previously Miller Coors, announced today it will be bringing hundreds of jobs to Milwaukee, but officials were not able to give a definite number. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett, along with Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, made the announcement today.
They chose Milwaukee. It's my hope that they pick every job and put it in the city of Milwaukee. But that was the number that we were given, hundreds of jobs, and we were happy with that, and I remain happy with that. And I'm optimistic as this works its way out, this is going to be a big win for our city and for our state.
Officials say most of the new jobs will be, quote, well-paying senior roles. Internal White House emails show an effort to justify the president's decision to withhold congressionally authorized money to help Ukraine's military after that decision was already made. In emails first obtained by the Washington Post, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney asked the Office of Management and Budget for legal justification to withhold the aid in early August. That was after the president ordered the hold and after his July 25th phone call with Ukraine's president, in which he asked President Zelensky to investigate Joe Biden and his son Hunter. In a White House press briefing in October, Mulvaney appeared to admit the money was held up in order to push Ukraine to launch the investigation. The OMB defended the hold, writing there was a legal consensus at every step of the way that the money could be withheld in order to conduct the policy review. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg hit the campaign trail in Virginia today. The billionaire businessman from New York is framing his candidacy as the best hope to beat the New York billionaire currently in the White House. Deborah Alfarone reports from the White House.
The newest Democratic presidential candidate, Michael Bloomberg, made his first campaign stop, meeting with voters and local elected officials in Norfolk, Virginia. Over the weekend, the billionaire kicked off his White House bid with a record-breaking $34 million ad blitz.
He could have just been the middle-class kid who made good, but Mike Bloomberg became the guy who did good.
Former Vice President Joe Biden welcomed the former New York City mayor's entry into the race.
I welcome the competition.
Other Democratic candidates were critical.
It does not mean billionaires buying elections or just because they are billionaires thinking they can run for president.
President Trump has said that there's no one else he'd rather run against than the fellow New York billionaire.
Little Michael will fail. He'll spend a lot of money. He's got some really big issues.
Bloomberg is promising not to take any campaign contributions, even though by not accepting donations, he will not qualify for the Democratic debates. A Bloomberg spokesperson says if the Democratic National Committee changes its rules, he will gladly participate. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
The news service that bears Bloomberg's name announced that it will not investigate him or any of his Democratic rivals, and Bloomberg Opinion will no longer run unsigned editorials. But the editor-in-chief of Bloomberg News also said if other credible news organizations do investigative stories on Bloomberg or other Democrats, Bloomberg News will summarize them or publish them in full.
Well, still to come at 4, are you planning a Black Friday shopping trip?
Can't believe that's already here,
It's
almost.
amazing.
Our happiness expert, Professor Christine Whelan, is here, and she says it's very important to have a strategy in place before you hit the mall. We'll have those details when Live at 4 continues.
Exactly, indeed.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4. Speed.
A number of automakers, from Hyundai to Mercedes-Benz, are introducing new models of environmentally friendly cars that are not electric.
Adam Briala has driven a Toyota Mirai for 3 years. On a full tank, he says he can travel nearly 300 miles in the hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. A fuel cell car doesn't have to be plugged in for power. It instead uses hydrogen and oxygen to generate electricity on board. The tailpipe's only emission is water. Experts say despite the benefits of fuel cell technology, sales haven't taken off like electric vehicles. One hurdle is that California is the only state that has a large number of fueling stations available.
It could change in the future if we get more fuel cell stations elsewhere in the U.S., but there really isn't any major movement to put any massive number of these stations elsewhere, and that's what you really need.
Another reason, the cost. New models introduced at this year's LA Auto Show, like Hyundai's Nexo, carry a price tag of just over $58,000. It was a record-setting day on Wall Street on renewed hope of trade talks with China. The Dow Industrials gained 190 points, closing at 28,066. The Nasdaq added 112, and the S&P 500 was up 23 again, all record closes. Well, Black Friday, believe it or not, is 4 days away, and holiday shopping season kicks in after that.
Putting some thought into having a simple strategy for holiday purchases can save your wallet and your stress level. Our consuming happiness expert, Dr. Christine Whelan from the UW School of Human Ecology, is back with us to show us how. Hi, Christine.
Hi there. Good to see you.
This is such a great time of the year, but it is so stressful. And balancing this begins with asking yourself a couple important questions, right?
It really does. So before we head blindly into this holiday shopping season, before we sort of get caught up in all the pressure of, am I buying the right gift? Am I doing the right thing? I decided that everybody needs a manifesto to consume happiness this holiday season.
Sounds
right?
great.
How can we consume happiness? That's what we really all want to do. I teach a class here at UW-Madison on that very topic. And so there are 3 questions that I think all of us should ask ourselves before we head out into the stores.
Okay.
First of all, what are our 3 core values? What matters most to me? What do I care about most? And it doesn't have to be shopping or materials and related values. What are the things that matter most to me? Pick anything. Then, what are the activities or types of things that bring me joy? Not things that I have to do, things that I want to do that energize me and bring me joy.
If shopping's on the top of that list.
That's okay too.
Okay.
I have no restrictions on this. We just want to think about it.
You want people to actually write these down.
I actually want people to write these down, to give themselves the time and the space to ask these questions and then to write them down. So first 3 core values, then what brings you joy. And then the third question is, who are the people or the groups that you want to make a positive impact on? Who do you want to support this holiday season? So after you ask those 3 questions, and then you can put like 3 down in each category, then I'm encouraging people to put together what I call this Consuming Happiness Manifesto, where you say that you want to use your time and your talent and your treasure in keeping with your values so that you can spend more time doing more of these things that bring you joy, so that you can have a positive impact on the people and the groups that you care about most. And this is a way for us to think about what matters most to us and prioritize our spending, whether it's in terms of our time or in terms of our money, in keeping with the things that we care about heading into the holidays.
So this isn't a way to come up with a shopping list.
No, no, no. And yet, it can educate your shopping list, though, right? Because if you think, oh, there's a big sale going on, you can say, fine, is this spending in keeping with my values? Or is this item going to bring me joy? Is it going to buy me time to do more of the things that I love? Or can I have this shopping experience with the people that I care most about? Right? So you think about it through various different lenses. Also, it's not just about shopping, right? You can spend time with your loved ones doing good in your community, whether it's doing a big leaf cleanup together as a community, spending time at a local volunteer organization. There are many ways that we can consume happiness without spending money.
Yeah, and it takes away a little bit of the commercialism of the holiday, too. It sort of reprioritizes what you should be thinking about, which is nice.
But let's be honest, there's a lot of shopping that's about to go on, right? And so because of that, I think that it's really important to think about how to spend money in a meaningful way, right? So buying experiences rather than things.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Spending money on memories. Those things last a lifetime rather than a gadget that gets worn out pretty quick.
Or donate to a charity in somebody's name?
Absolutely. These are things that make a lasting impact, and again, in keeping with your values. But unless we take the time to think about them, and not just think about them personally, but to share them. So I encourage everybody to fill out this manifesto, post it on Facebook, share it, go public with your opinions. Also, it can help those who are thinking about what the perfect gift for you might be. They see what you care about, the causes that you want to support. It's a win-win all around.
And here's where you can find it.
There you go.
Oh, and there it goes.
Oh, yeah. Hold it up, Christine, just for a second.
Oh, yes, I can. I will hold it up right here.
In the blanks, you're just filling in the things that you value.
You fill in the things that you value right up here. So you fill in your values, and then you fill in the activities or things that bring you joy, and then also the people or the groups that you want to support most, right? And this is a way that we can all consume happiness this holiday season.
That's a great idea.
You can find this online.
Yep, you can find this online. I'm putting it up on my website. I think it'll be on your website as well, and on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and share widely.
Share, share, share.
Yeah.
'Tis the season.
A Mad Lib with a purpose.
A Mad Lib with a consuming happiness purpose.
Thanks for being with us. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, to you
We'll
too.
start there, okay?
Thank you very much.
Happy Thanksgiving. Great to see you.
Thanks.
There's more at 4. Dana is updating your Thanksgiving week forecast.
And then coming up tonight at 5, we're introducing you to the dog who helped bring down an ISIS leader last month. That story is coming up tonight at 5.
Take a look at this. 2 alligators, one of which is an albino, received a cleansing scrub at the North Carolina Aquarium at Fort Fisher. The aquarium posted this video and a note on social media. It says, when cleaning the alligator habitat last week, our animal care team also removed algae buildup on the scutes. Now we had to look up what a scute is. It's a thickened, horny, or bony plate on a turtle shell or on the back of crocodiles and alligators. Also, the feet of birds.
Sturgeon. Sturgeon also have scutes.
Oh, do they?
Yep.
See, we just needed to ask Dana.
That's your husband would know
Yes,
that.
yep. That's the only reason I know that. That looks like a happy gator.
I was just going to say, it looks like he's smiling.
The other ones, too.
Crocodile smile, gator smile also.
How you clean a gator?
Clean the scoots.
So everybody's getting a little nervous about
Yes.
the weather coming our way.
It's always concerning, of course, when you have a big travel trip or a lot of people on the roads for the holidays.
record number.
A record number on the roads, and things aren't looking so great, mainly north of us. That is the good news. Around Madison, things do look okay, but if you're traveling towards the Twin Cities, or if you're trying to get in and out of any airports, that's also going to be a bit of a mess. We'll take a closer look at why right after the break. There's a lot going on in weather world right now. The good news, we can kind of digest it tonight because things are staying pretty quiet and mild for this evening. Heading into Tuesday, the morning should be fine. We'll have clouds early in the day, but then the rain chances develop late in the afternoon and may mix with a little bit of snow at night north of Madison. Not looking at that snow threat really around Dane County, but by Thanksgiving, we're looking for a nice little quiet break before another opportunity for some moisture creeps on in. It'll be a little cold outside for Thanksgiving though. This whole system, the track, has been so important, and it still is for where we will see the rain and the snow. If this low pressure travels further north, taking a line pretty much towards Green Bay, then we're going to see a lot of rain for southern Wisconsin, and that seems like the likely path right now. Models kind of agreeing that's the trend as we look towards Tuesday into Wednesday. But if that track shifts just a little further south, notice the reach of that snow crosses a little further south. This is the unlikely event, but still important to note heading overnight and again into tomorrow that we'll be keeping a very close eye on where the center of that low pressure is. Notice as the rain lifts in for tomorrow afternoon, there's going to be a very clear cutoff between where the rain is and where the snow is to the north. And we're expecting snow for much of the day and evening into La Crosse and towards the Twin Cities. So this is for Tuesday evening and overnight. Overnight, these showers continue across the southern edge of the states. We could see some heavier rainfall at times for early on Wednesday morning. By your drive to work on Wednesday, or if you're trying to hit the road early for Thanksgiving plans, we're already seeing a little bit of a drying trend around Madison, but again, towards the Twin Cities, Eau Claire, La Crosse, still seeing snow coming on down. Mostly cloudy skies throughout Wednesday. We may have a little bit of wraparound moisture behind this for late Wednesday afternoon, but it's not going to be much. It's not going to accumulate. The ground's going to be too wet and too warm. Wednesday night, we dry up, and for Thanksgiving on Thursday, again, pretty pleasant outside as far as being dry. It's just going to be a little cold. The other thing to note, if you're heading south, there is a high wind watch in effect for Wednesday, so high-profile vehicles or even just sending anyone outside. It's going to be very windy outside into northern Illinois. Snowfall potential is going to be very high around the Twin Cities, a half of a foot or more expected. Those numbers decrease, though, the further south and east you get, so around La Crosse, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches south. But again, all of southern Wisconsin, this light snow might mix with some rain at times, but we are just not going to have any accumulation on the ground. So a little closer look again. Viroqua, Camp Douglas, you might see some light snowfall, but the rest of the area, it is a rain event. Overnight, we stay nice and quiet. The cloud coverage really builds in, though. For tomorrow morning, we'll have a mostly cloudy sky. The rain starts to develop from south to north for tomorrow afternoon, and by the drive home, we still have all that rain coming through, and it's the trend overnight into Wednesday. Alert day also in the forecast for next Sunday. We're going to get through this first system, and then we'll start focusing on the weekend. But for next Sunday, the chance for light snow with minor accumulation will develop. So that'll be at the end of the weekend. Temperatures for Tuesday and Wednesday will be in the mid-40s for Madison. Because of those temperatures so high above freezing, it is just a rain event that we're talking about. For Thanksgiving, though, mid-30s for afternoon highs. So it is going to be a little cold outside, but it'll be dry. Chance for some flurries developing at night, may mix with a little freezing drizzle at night. And then another system comes through for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, bringing showers, rain showers for Friday and Saturday, and then the possibility for accumulating snowfall on Sundays. We get through round 1, round 2 arrives, and then the following week, it seems right now like a little more of a drier stretch.
It's December next week.
Yeah. December next
That's right. I know it is.
Already, and we've had enough snow right now. We can hold off for a little bit. But again, Black Earth Creek, I drive by it every day. It is so swollen right now. So this rain, even though it's not snow, still not a good thing.
Yeah, we don't need it. No. All right, I'll take the rain.
Yes,
yeah,
over
exactly.
the snow. That's the lesser of two evils right now.
Dana, thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Well, the TSA is bracing for a record number of people at airport security checkpoints around the country this Thanksgiving.
But new technology being tested could speed up screenings and address passenger complaints over things like electronics, liquids, and taking off your shoes. Chris Van Cleve reports.
In a field outside Providence, University of Rhode Island researchers are working on new ways to detect and stop explosives popular with terrorists. They're partnering with the Department of Homeland Security on this sensor. They call it a digital dog nose. It'll soon be the size of a cell phone or able to be mounted on a drone and can detect homemade explosives as well or better than a bomb-sniffing dog.
Put on part 1.
They've also created a gel called Shmoo that can surround an explosive or chemical agent and flash freeze it so it can be safely removed from a transit hub. 2,700 miles away at this new airport checkpoint in Las Vegas, the TSA's newest technology is being tested together for the first time with real passengers. They call it their innovation checkpoint.
This is a glimpse into the future of what aviation security is going to look like.
As passengers approach this innovation checkpoint, they'll see dynamic message boards. Next, new ID readers can scan your license to quickly validate your identity and confirm you're flying that day without needing to show officers your boarding pass. From there, carry-on bags go to a CT scanner. Electronics can stay in, and eventually the goal is liquids will too. The new scanners can more easily see through all the clutter in bags. Science fiction is coming alive with these new walk-by body scanners. They display a generic male or female form and flag an area of the body where there may be a concern. The technology is also better at spotting non-metallic threats that a metal detector might miss.
They can speed it up a little bit more, yeah. The ID thing was a little slow.
It's quicker. It definitely pushes people through a lot faster.
You may also see expanded use of facial recognition at checkpoints. The TSA is hoping it can take lessons learned from the Vegas airport and quickly apply them to checkpoints across the country by, say, 2022. And already some of that technology, like the CT scanners, being rolled out to airports across the country. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Speed things up. That would
Very
be nice.
interesting.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about the weather, though.
No,
They can only fix that.
Well, still to come at 4, the movie Frozen 2 made $127 million over the weekend. That's one of the best openings ever for an animated film.
When we come back, our Will Loper says there is a good reason it made that much money. His review when Live at 4 continues.
Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore.
Where are we? How did you get in the forest?
The mist parted for us.
Impossible. Where did you learn magic?
I believe in you, Elsa, more than anyone or anything.
And that was a clip from Frozen 2, one of the newest movies to hit theaters.
Is the film worth seeing? Here to let us know is our film critic, Will Loper. Hi, Will.
Hi, guys. Oh, well, I got good news. This is a movie that will entertain both kids and adults. It's got humor and heart, and it's well worth a trip to the theaters to see it. So Elsa, Anna, Olaf, Kristoff, and Sven are all back, and this time there's a mysterious force that's kicked them out of their kingdom. So they go investigating a forest shrouded in mist, which, you know, is never a good sign, and find themselves besieged by what seem to be water, fire, air, and earth elements. Now, much like the first movie, this film explores what happens when we fear those who are different than us and how much harm that can cause. Now, it's got plenty of jokes from everyone's favorite snowman, Olaf. The animation is gorgeous, especially when Elsa uses her ice powers. Now, I did have company to the theaters, my sister and Frozen expert Isabel, my 8-year-old niece, and, you know, she had her own thoughts after the movie.
When I thought of Frozen 2, it was pretty good in the beginning, but in the middle, it was kind of sad. But at the It was a good ending. I probably only laughed about like 4 times. I didn't even cry. I just had it in my eyes. I was trying to hold it in.
Who was your favorite character?
I would say Elsa, because more to the end she like had her hair down. I would rate it 5 Elsas out of 5.
There you go.
Future
5?
reviewer.
5 out of 5.
5 Elsas out of 5. Goodness.
No, I'm glad to hear that because whenever there's a sequel, you sort of hold your breath. The first one was so great. So it's good to hear that the second one lives up to its billing.
It does hold up, yeah. Usually it's a step down, but this one I thought was just as good.
All right, what's the rating?
I guess 4 Elsas with her hair down out of 5. Didn't go quite as high as Isabel, but still very good.
Oh, she is so cute.
Yeah, she is.
How old?
8.
Yeah.
The future of reviewing
5 out
in
of
the
5.
family.
I better look out.
All right, up next, a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
We are trying to give the world positive ways of dealing with their feelings.
So Tom Hanks is the children's show legend Mr. Rogers, and a jaded journalist named Lloyd is sent to interview him. Now, Lloyd doesn't believe anyone can possibly be so kind, but over the course of the movie, Fred Rogers begins to convince him that is the case and helps Lloyd deal with the anger and unresolved history that he has with his father. Now, every time Tom Hanks is on screen as Mr. Rogers, the movie comes alive, but sadly, he's the supporting character in his own movie, and this is mostly the story of Lloyd. Still, you're gonna want to bring your tissue boxes. This movie will hit you right in the feels. It's worth seeing, but, it just needed more Mr. Rogers.
Are we going to learn anything about Mr. Rogers that we didn't know before?
Not really, no. But, I'm a little spoiled. I saw the documentary last year that really went into his life, and this one doesn't really cover any new ground, I'd say.
The way it's marketed, it's like his story.
Yeah, it shows Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers. You think this whole thing is going to be the Mr. Rogers movie, but really, it's the Lloyd movie.
All right, what's the rating?
I gave this one 3.9 Mr. Rogers out of 5. Still worth seeing. It's still very, very good, but...
All right, next week.
Next week, we've got Knives Out. Murder mystery with a killer cast.
Wow, never heard of it.
What?
Oh, no, this is a big buzz about this one. Oh, yeah.
You'll hear about it next week.
Okay, see you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, you guys as well.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be right back.
No accidents to report right now, though. The Beltline, of course, is getting just a little busier. Here's a look at the Beltline right at Park Street. East and westbound, at least moving along, though eastbound does have a few more folks on that side of the road. There is an accident, though, on the on-ramp to Gammon. The shoulder is blocked. No delays on any lanes. The eastbound side gets delayed a little bit the closer you get to Park Street, but then things pick back up closer to John Nolan. Around downtown Janesville, you shouldn't have any delays. In fact, if you're taking 39 all the way down to the state line, you should have a pretty smooth drive this evening. 25 minutes to get from Janesville to the Beltline, Sauk City to Middleton, 18 minutes, and from Sun Prairie to downtown, a 16-minute drive this evening. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. 2 lucky turkeys who will escape the Thanksgiving table are in Washington to get a pardon from President Trump. Bread and Butter attended a press conference today at the Willard Intercontinental Hotel. They're also going to spend the night there. Then they'll travel to the White House tomorrow for their pardon. Then Bread and Butter will live out their days at their new home at Virginia Tech's Department of Animal and Poultry Sciences. The White House turkey pardon dates back to the days of Abraham Lincoln.
Nobody takes me as a serious musician because I'm always putting on funny clothes, but it's show business.
A new documentary takes an in-depth look at the life and career of a Wisconsin legend. Mike Leckrone, Wisconsin's showman, debuts tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on PBS Wisconsin. The documentary follows Leckrone around his final year on campus as the director of the University of Wisconsin Marching Band.
It covers his entire 83-year life, not just the 50-year chapter he spent in Madison. We are honored to have Mike Leckrone back with us today. Mike, good to see you.
It's always good to see you both. It's always fun.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you. You too. Yeah.
Well, I cannot wait to see this. I understand that right after you announced that you were retiring, PBS Wisconsin producer Holly DeRuyter called you and said, how about we follow you around for your 50th and final year on campus and make it into a documentary, which is such a great idea. I wish I would have thought of that. Yeah, well, what did you think of that
Well,
at the time?
I thought following them around meant they'd hit me for a couple of times, but they were there constantly. I couldn't look around without seeing Holly, which was really terrific because they captured things that I didn't expect them to, and plus there was a lot of things that I thought, well, that'll never make for the show, and it's there.
It really opened up your life to this.
Well, it was a little.
Your family's in it?
My family in it, and it's a lot of great memories. I mean, even goes back to when I was a kid, and guys I knew in high school. Some of my high school buddies are portrayed in there, and it was just an exciting time, but a little bit overwhelming too at times.
Well, it's an hour-long special, and everyone feels like they know you and they know everything about you. This is going to reveal a little bit of a different side of you.
There's going to be some things that people will say, I didn't know that.
Looking back at the 50s, I mean, Susan did the story with you, but the Rose Bowl was probably one of the highlights?
It was.
The first
There's
Rose
no
Bowl?
question. That was the highlight. When people ask me what was that first Rose Bowl was so special, it was just, I still get excited about thinking about it at the time.
We're seeing some footage from the documentary.
You were there, Mark, that very first one.
I was surprised at how much archival footage they had.
A great deal. I mean, again, we opened up everything that we had. We found some things from the old concerts, some of the very first concerts we had done back in the field house, and it was just, Holly was so thorough about, can you find me this? Can you? We even tried to dig up some things I had done at Butler and sound, and it was just amazing that everything that she came up with.
And there are so many funny stories I'm looking forward to hearing more about, including an interview with Barry Alvarez, who, when he took over the job in 1990, of course, the football team was horrible, and someone said to him, I hope you build a football program that the band can be proud of. That sent a strong message.
I was very flattered when I heard that quote from Barry. That was great.
Yeah.
So what are you up to these days?
Boy, you name it, I'm doing a little bit of everything. It's so much. I thought I might be a little bit bored when they said the word retirement, but it hasn't been. I've been teaching classes in continuing education. Been doing a lot of guest conducting, a lot of clinics, a lot of speeches. It's just been a continuation of. Except I don't have the responsibility of teaching the band anymore.
Do you miss it?
I do. No question about it. I miss it, but it's something different, and it's the next step that I was hoping would happen, and it feels that way.
It seems like the baton was passed pretty smoothly.
It was. I think everybody who was involved with the transition, Corey, Scott, everybody made it go very, very smoothly from one to the next. And I've tried to do anything I can to make sure I'm not in the way of what happens next.
Have you been to any games this
I've been
season?
to all the games except the first one.
Oh, you're kidding,
yeah,
really?
What goes through your mind? You're seeing the band in a different perspective now.
Oh, it's totally different. But you still don't lose that. Well, he need to take another step forward. He needs. You never get rid of that. That's always.
You always have that critical eye.
Oh, you always do. Yeah.
Well,
but it's going very well.
Great. We're looking forward to the documentary tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on PBS Wisconsin. I've seen a preview. It is spectacular. It is well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you both.
Great to see you. Happy Thanksgiving. Now, will you be cooking or traveling or?
I'm going to be eating, but
no, that's
no
wonderful.
cooking.
You'll be with your daughter this
Yeah,
Thanksgiving?
my daughter will take care of that.
And then everybody home for Christmas, right?
That's right. We'll see them all.
That's wonderful.
Great
Great to see you, Mike.
You don't be a stranger.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Mike, thanks. We'll be right back with the final check on your forecast.
Wait for your roll playback.
A nice evening out there.
Nice evening. A lot of folks getting ready to get on the roads, though. We're starting to prepare for what's ahead for Tuesday and Wednesday. We do have alert days in the forecast for tomorrow night and for Wednesday morning. Mainly rain around Madison. The snow is going to be well north of the Dells and stretching towards the Twin Cities. That continues into Wednesday morning, and even after the rain and snow ends, it's still going to be quite windy outside. So we'll look at that snow map one more time. Around the Twin Cities, up to 1/2 foot. Some areas may see even a little bit more around La Crosse, a 3 to 6 inch range. And then for southern Wisconsin, we have a light snow falling there around Madison. We're just expecting maybe a few snowflakes at night to mix in with the rain, but because the ground's so warm and at that point will be so saturated, none of that snow is expected to stick. Tomorrow, temperatures will be in the mid-40s. It's going to be very cloudy outside and certainly not as mild. The rain picks up late in the afternoon, around 3, 4 o'clock for us in Madison, and then just continues overnight. Once the rain arrives, it really stays. That takes us into Thanksgiving. Thankfully, Thanksgiving should be pretty quiet outside. It's just going to be a little bit cold. So if you're kicking the kids out to go play football, that's what we always did. Just know they're going to come back inside muddy and cold.
There you go. And then maybe some trouble coming back, but that's a ways off.
Maybe some trouble coming back. Saturday looks like rain. Sunday looks a little gross as well. So it's one of those things where people need to be patient on the roads and in the airways as too. We start seeing one delay and it just ripples out from these airports.
Yeah, pay attention.
Keep an eye on it.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you, Dana.
Tomorrow here on Live at 4, Consumer Reports. Marks has some holiday shopping tips for Black Friday and beyond.
And for the 27th year, boy, time flies, Mark, we head to nutritionist Donna Weihofen's house for a very Donna Thanksgiving. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4.